Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll with Advantage. My name is Joe, and boy, what do we have going on here? Yes, that is correct. We have a new overlay. That's new thing number one that I'm very excited about. We have new overlay, which looks very nice. We have wonderful names. We have wonderful hand-drawn assets by our wonderful resident player, Carasilla and Twig in the Isles of Iverion, Gemma. So thank you, Gemma, for doing that. Because here's the other thing. We have another artist who their name is River, and they're great. And when I presented two different tasks to my two different artists for the channel, Gemma did this one where she remade. She redid the assets for the stream overlay and made it look very nice and pretty. And there was a second task that River decided to do, and she did it, and I'm very proud because it looks amazing. So I think that everybody, can you go ahead and unmute yourselves and say hi?
Hello.
Hello.
Is it working?
My mouth is open. Currently.
Hello.
Oh, look at that.
Good job, River. We look great.
Amazing, River. Look at that.
Okay, that does look good.
It's really fun. I think that my favorite is Desmond, just because his like whole ass bottom jaw moves.
It's so cute.
He's like a Muppet.
Yeah. Well, that was my proposition. I was like, what if you just made him look like a South Park character and you just lifted half of his face up? This is why River's the artist and I'm not, because I decided to do that, and she did something a lot better. And River just said, this is wild to watch. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I love how all of our reactions are just perplexed. That's all they are. Whenever they're talking, like, what? I
don't know.
That's like the only emotion I'm getting.
Morwen looks pretty happy.
Morwen does.
She's like, hey.
Yeah, I've never seen Morwen that happy.
What do you mean?
Aw. Yeah, let's see. I think that Mark, say something.
Gabagool.
I like she's scowling, and then it looks like Cecily's doing a quip or something like that, where she's like, huh? Huh? I love it.
Yes, that is also how I quip.
It's so funny watching them go back to neutral. It honestly is my favorite thing. Okay, so with that, I think that we can go ahead and roll our little intro-y boy here. And then I think we can go ahead and get started. We are back. I don't know if that was caught at all, but I hope not. So, with that,
We're talking about bread again.
Yeah.
Teacher.
I think
Fixation of mine.
that on that note, we should go ahead and dive in. And as is now tradition, to quote Tevye from Fiddler on a Roof, we have a new tradition here at Roll with Advantage that's starting to gain some traction, and that is to allow the players to do the summary. We have this for all three groups on a bit of a rotation, and this week it is Ryan's turn. So Ryan, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and summarize for us, my man.
All right. At the beginning of our last session, the Runaways found themselves confronted and surrounded by numerous warriors of the Dark One. They and Hrothgar work together and are able to slay their attackers, with Oriana joining them later. After the battle, they learn that Oriana's entire crew has been killed, and the item they were transporting had been stolen, an artifact of unknown origin located in a mine near Bromsgrove. Hrothgar and Oriana deduce that the Runaways are more linked to the Dark One than previously expected. After having Oriana leave for her own safety, the group tells Hrothgar everything since they met Daku in the prison months ago. After some revelations, Hrothgar agrees to join the team on the road to Fjardalyth, as he can help them enter into Tyr's temple, where the Crow Lord is keeping the artifacts and items raided from the Time Temple the group previously was moving towards. Hrothgar does mention that if there is an opportunity, he is going to kill the Crow Lord due to his betrayal of Tyr. Taking Oriana with them as well, the group travels. After a narrow run-in with Captain Darrow, Oriana is able to prevent a battle from taking place with a single use of mass suggestion. Lastly, upon arriving in Fjardalyth, the group is personally welcomed by the Crow Lord Odin, who reveals himself to be Cecily's father. In the surprise and confusion, Hrothgar has vanished from their side. And that is where we left off.
That is exactly where we left off. So, as all of you begin to... By the way, thank you, Ryan, for the wonderful intro there. That was great. So, as all of you begin to step off of the ship, you can see there is this, like, reverence to the area around you. And you can just see that there are people that are staring at you with admiration. And most disturbingly of all, Cecily, you can tell that most of it is focused at you. And all of these people are looking at you and then looking back to Odin. And let me go ahead and share him one more time so we can get a good look at him. Image. Show to players. There we go. Okay. So we see this incredibly tall man. Long locks of gray and white, eye patch over one eye, a spear in his hand, and a crow on his shoulder. You can see he had just addressed you, step forward, my daughter. And Cecily, as you kind of sheepishly stepped forward, he says, "Welcome home, Cecily of the old blood, of my blood, of the blood of Odin. It is my greatest happiness to have my daughter home." And as you sort of stepped forward, very sheepishly looking around, you can see that as this massive man stares down towards you, you can see there's this look of, there's this perplexed look on his face as he says, "Not you, daughter of the elk. Oh, come here and give your pa a hug." And he just starts like lumbering towards you and like goes to scoop you up. And a very very fatherly embrace. He just tries to scoop you and pick you up and give you a hug. Now, do you let that happen, or do you like misty step out of the way or some shit?
Well, no, I think, in this moment, Cecily's sheer confusion and awestruckness at everything going on will override any desire to get away or push back or anything. So she'll kind of just be scooped up in it, but maybe not return it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you get scooped up and he squeezes you and he says, "Oh, I'm so happy to have you back with me." And he sets you down and he sort of clasps you on the shoulder as if you were 2 times wider and 3 times taller. He's really, treating you in a very, very familiar way, as if you had never been gone. And he looks at you with this just profound happiness as he says, "I'm so happy to have you home. I thought you had been lost to me, but the gods have granted me a gift." And he just gives you this very genuine smile you can see on his face. And he looks out to the crowd and he says, "Many years ago, I thought this day would never come. I thought my daughter would be lost forever, never to see her darling face again. But now she returns to us, stronger and bolder than she was when she left. which isn't very difficult considering she left as a babe. And you can see the crowd kind of like laughs a little bit. And he says, "My daughter, I know you do not know my face the same as I know yours. I understand such truths thrust upon you might cause you to recoil or fear, question if the truth is what it was said, or if it's something else entirely. You've traveled far, and I would like to answer any questions you may have, my daughter. But we shouldn't do this out in the cold snows of the fractured peninsula, but we should do this in personal chambers for you and your adventuring companions. I offer a stay for as long as you may wish in my own private rooms in Tyr's temple. God's rest his soul," as he sort of looks up and then looks down and crosses his fist to his heart.
Does any of this seem performative?
Make an insight check.
Translate it the
18.
same.
18, go ahead and make an insight check.
Uh, 22.
22. No, to the both of you, he seems rather genuine. He seems profoundly happy. As far as you can tell. Throw that on. As a DM, you can never speak with certainty. There always has to be a maybe at the end. Okay, so as far as the two of you can tell, he does seem rather genuine in what he's saying. And he just seems very happy to have his daughter back here. And he looks down to all of you with a smile. And you can see Oriana, she kind of... You can see that she's trying to find a way to leave, but the crowd is so closely packed around you, she sort of like meekly... And it's very odd to see her kind of meekly do this, because meek is not part of her vernacular, but I guess today it is. She meekly raises her hand and says, "Excuse me, Your Majesty? Yes, you see, your daughter here, I am here because of her good graces, and I feel as though your blood has done so much to provide for me and protect me that taking any more, I would just feel, I would feel unjust, and that I was taking too much from such an already joyous and giving leader. If it's all right with you, if I have your blessing, my lord, I would much prefer to stay at a tavern of some sort nearby, and after all, I won't be staying long, maybe a day or two, gather a ship and a crew and head back on my journeys." And you can see Odin, he looks down and has this stern look on his face, and he looks to you, Cecily, as if waiting for you to give her an answer.
Cecily's gonna kind of awkwardly point at herself for a second, and then look back at Oriana and just... Yeah? Yes? Yes. Okay, let's do that.
Spoken like a true leader, laconic. And with that, he sort of waves a gesture to Oriana, and she gives a bow and says, "Thank you, mighty Crow Lord. Good luck to the rest of you, and should we encounter each other again, hopefully it's under better circumstances." She kind of smiles and gives you a wave and kind of like fades into the crowd as the crowd kind of like makes a gap for her to leave, and then leaving just the group of you, just our group of adventurers here and Keothi. So, with that, all of you are standing there in front of Odin, right? In front of this 6.5, 7 foot tall man. Like I said, that long white hair, the different purples and reds and fur pelts decorating his attire. And he says, "Well then, should you want, as I said, Tyr's Temple and all of its accommodations, its libraries, its never-ending mead and food await you. That is, should you choose to come. I would be greatly honored to have you and any of your companions stay in the temple.
I think Cecily will stare at him a little dumbfounded and then slowly turn back to the group. And she's kind of just looking at them just at a loss, just not sure what to do with any of this, looking for some sort of approval.
Morwen gives a nod and a thumbs up.
If you wish, we'll follow, Cecily.
I didn't know you had a famous dad.
Yeah. Me either. And she'll turn back then to Odin, say, "You have a lot of explaining to do."
And you can see this solemn look cross his face, and he gives you a nod and says, "That I do, Cecily. I do. Tonight, you have all of the answers you wish, and more. After all, once in a lifetime, is a daughter returned to her father after 16 years.
She'll turn back to the group and just... Okay. Well, let's eat something other than good berries.
I can argue with that one.
I must admit I'm growing very weary of them.
Well, I'm sorry, Ashima. If I could change the taste, I would.
They're just jealous they can't produce magical berries.
The fault lies not upon the conjurer, but on the berry itself. And it's the weakness of flesh.
Fair enough.
Just jealous.
That's what I'm thinking.
Partially.
Aha! Okay, all right. So with that, you can see the crowd, they kind of like clap a little bit. Because this is a very... When you talk of the return of the daughter of Odin, you don't imagine that's the first conversation that the brave companions are going to have upon their return. But Odin, you can see just kind of...
first words are, yeah, yes.
And you can see Odin just sort of looks around, and he says, "This is Cecily Odinson. Give her the proper admiration and respect that she deserves." And with that, the crowd goes into a wild celebration. Claps and cheers, small bits of torn, thin pieces of fabric thrown up into the air, multicolored around you. Confetti, as one may call it. And all of you are then escorted by armed guards all the way from the port district all the way up to Tyr's Temple. So let me go ahead and pull you all to the map of Fjardeleth real quick. So this is a big map, so for some of you it might take a little bit longer. All right, so in terms of what are we working with right now? Yeah, so left click and drag to unselect the party token. So that way when you go to talk, you don't talk as the party token. I mean, not that that's an issue, but, you know. Okay, so let me go ahead and move again to the battle map screen. Ba, 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 ba. Look at that.
Oh, hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Does my divine sense as a paladin pick up any odors of strong evil when we came here?
That's an ability you activate.
Oh, I have to activate it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so it is, it's like, I think a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. You can activate it per long rest, and it lasts for 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is it noticeable when it gets... I'm just reading it now. I'm sorry.
No, I think that it's just kind of like you inhale deeply and just concentrate.
Well, while we are walking, I will do that.
And that's what, Fae, Fiends, Undead?
The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor. Powerful good ring like heavenly music. Okay, celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet, but it's not behind total cover, and you know what type.
Yeah. Okay. So something odd that you do notice is Odin does have a glow to him. He does have a slight aura of celestial. It's very light, but it is there.
Does he smell evil though? Or
No.
sound?
The implication of the spell is you can tell if something is a fiend, celestial, or undead. So the implication there is if it is a fiend or undead, it is a very nasty smell, and if it's a celestial, it's this sort of angelic music or
Gotcha.
delightful taste in the air.
Whatever.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. All right, so we have got our map of Fjardalith here. So you guys are starting right down here in the dock area. So this is kind of where you start, all right? So how it's going to work is you're going to move down here to this crane right here, and you can see that this entire dock around you is entirely constructed of wood. There is no stone base underneath it. It is all constructed of just flat planks and sheets of wood. As you are walked across, you can see these massive planks jutting out of the pillars, or jutting out of the water, supporting this massive stone, or this massive wooden dock. As you make your way over to the crane, you can see that the people in this dock area are carrying weapons, whether they're guards, nobles, merchants, mercenaries, anything like that, they are carrying weapons. But as you get into these cranes, which pretty much serve as personal elevators, and you can see this one has been cleared and adjusted for Odin and his companions. There is tons of ivy and banners draped from it, so that when it's raising and sort of spinning very slowly, almost like something like the Space Needle, where it just rises up very slowly to a crazy tall height, and it's just kind of slowly spinning, maybe at like a quarter of a mile per hour. That's what's happening right here. But it's creating this really beautiful effect for everybody watching it rise. The crane is raised and then swung over slowly, so you are able to get off of this wooden elevator of a sort and dropped off into a pretty much like boarding area, or unboarding area, I should say. So in this area, as soon as you get off of the crane, heading down here into this building, oh, look at that, doing some breakdancing. Party is. As soon as you get off there, you can see any of the merchants that were here, mercenaries, all of them are taking off their weapons, whether they be sword belts, anything like that, daggers, potions, anything. They are putting it and they are stowing it away. And you can see that Odin stops and he turns towards all of you and he says, "All right. Now, this is sacred in the city. As all of you, I'm sure, have realized, the Fractured Peninsula is not exactly a peaceful place to live. In order to keep this city as safe as I can, no weapons at all are permitted within inside the city. Should you have no other place to put them, you are allowed to take them to your tavern and store them there. Now, all of you are staying in Tyr's temple, and you're staying as honored guests of not me, but of my daughter. So I give unto you a gift, where you may store your weapons to keep them out of sight and out of mind. Just remember, should you bear arms within the city, you will be sentenced to death. And I do not say that lightly. It is true for you, and it is true for me as well." And with that, you can see there's sort of lightning and energy that crackles around his fingers as eventually there is this small form that begins to grow. And then eventually the lightning cools and he holds a small, what looks to be burlap bag with etchings in it that are reminiscent of Norse runes. And he hands it to you, Cecily, and says, "That is a bag of holding. No matter how many things you put in it, at least that you would want to carry, it will not grow any heavier than what it is right now. Before we move any further, all of you must put your weapons in that bag. And you can see Odin does the same. He has a bag of holding on his side, and he takes his spear and he puts it in the bag, and it just disappears.
Well, she'll turn to the group with the bag and... Okay. Never held one of these. So, somebody want to figure this out?
I like things. I'll take it. Unless you wanted it.
No, that's... Someone else can hold it. It's not a big deal.
I'll go ahead and put my quarterstaff in.
Okay.
And I won't say the thing.
I was like, you're not going to try and pull a fast one?
No. No. I'll be good this day.
Okay.
Bianca's kind of eyeing the other people who have weapons to kind of get an idea of what they're thinking, but then she'll just, following Ashima, put hers in the bag.
Desmond will
Crystal's definitely doing the
also
same.
follow.
Okay.
Marwyn will also do it, taking them off of her hands and sliding them in there very carefully.
And like
I
I
think
said...
between Keo and I, there's like a knife. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have magic fists. Can somebody take my arms?
well, can someone silence me? Just in case.
Just keep it to yourself. Don't let them know that you can punch ghosts, okay? All right. So, all of your weapons are stored away. And like I said, for some of you, there is a little bit of separation anxiety from your weapons because you are so used to having them because of how dangerous the world is. But one thing that does help is you can see everybody that is now loading and unloading. They all have to do the same thing. It's not just you. It's not just some trick. It is an actual thing that is happening. Okay, so I just want that to be very clear. This isn't somebody trying to pull a fast one on you. This is just the rules of the city. And Morwen and Karasilla, this is something that both of you would know because of your proximity to Thjardaleth from Bromsgrove.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. So, with that then, you, the runaways, make your way down into the main sort of thoroughfare, the busiest area of the city, and you can see Odin lead you through. And he points out things as you're traveling, and you pass this large open air market square where you can see that there's just, even though there's snow falling down, there are still people commuting or participating in trade throughout this spanning area. And as you're passing, Odin makes a gesture and says, "That there is Njord's Valley. A good friend of mine, a master patron of trade and merchants, one of the best traders this side of the Salamander coast." And you just continue on. As you can see, there's a lot of pride that Odin has with this city as he's showing you, it's not the exact same vibe, but it's kind of the same energy as like a kid who like makes like a macaroni like art and gives it to their parent and is like, "Look at what I did. Isn't that cool?" Where he's just very genuinely happy. He loves this city. And even with all of your passive insights, that's something that you gather. Even if you're unsure about other things because of conflicting information, you can tell he loves the city. And he makes his way up. You can see that there is a gate that is shut, that as soon as he's within 25 feet, it opens, and he makes his way through. And then he points over there, in this direction over here towards 8, and he says, "That right there. Well, depending on how long you're here for, we might have to go see it. That's Fafnir's Gambit. Or, they do a collection of things. One of my favorites, though, is wyvern racing. So there's a kennel over in that way that hosts flying beasts, wyverns I'm sure you've heard of. And they race around the circle over and over and over again. They do the same thing in Thorol, but with horses. And why would you want to do that with a horse when you could do it with damn near a dragon. And then finally, we come to the prize jewel of the city. The greatest accomplishment of my dear friend. And there's another bit of solemnness as he steps forward toward the bridge. Before he even takes a step, he admires the temple in all its majesty. And differing from the picture here, you can see a circular building varnished in gold and blued steel. You can see these long drapes of gold and purple rounding the whole thing equidistant apart from one another. And coming out of the very top of the building, you can just barely see it. Seems to be these translucent blue leaves, just barely poking their way out of the top. And he takes a small moment. He mutters a few things under his breath in some odd language that none of you really recognize. And then he steps onto the bridge and crosses into Tyr's temple. So, I'll go in here. And yes, I know it's the concept art from God of War, but it's just such a cool design, you know?
It really is, though.
Yeah, exactly, you know?
Sick and nasty.
It is.
Art inspires art.
Exactly. So, all of you approach Tyr's temple. And you can see once again this sort of genuine smile on Odin's face as all of you approach. He breathes in and exhales. And before you enter, he looks down to you, Cecily, who he's been walking beside, and most of these comments have been to you. They've been addressed to the rest of the group, but most of them have been directed to you. Kind of like a teacher who's found their protege. You know, that's kind of the energy that you're getting from him. It's a little odd because it's kind of the same energy that Emeriel was giving you, but there is this warmth to it that makes you very uncomfortable because the way that he's talking to you is like you were never gone.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it doesn't seem feigned at all. It's just happy. And so you approach and he stops. And he says, "Now there are many rooms in Tyr's temple. I'll show you where you'll be staying. But be prepared. Because what you're about to see is the sight of a lifetime. For the first time, you are going to behold one of the seeds, the tree of life, of Yggdrasil. Now, Cecily, I'm going to ask you, are you ready?"
I guess so.
And he smiles for a moment, and then nods, and he steps forward. And you can see that as he steps forward, he places a hand on the door, and there is this glowing on all the different tattoos and cuts that he has all over his arms and body. You can see they begin to glow with this sort of deep blue shifting to teal. As he looks up at the door, and you can see almost like water sort of rushing upward. It just looks like streams breaking off as this energy, this teal blue energy, is just being poured in to the area. And you can see eventually the door does begin to crack open. And then, as the door is opening, very slowly creaking, the metal just moving all on its own, you begin to see it. A tree but its roots consuming almost the entirety of the floor. A thick trunk that sprouts off into thousands of different directions, leaves of thousands of different colors, all spanning up and out, reaching towards the top of the ceiling and then crawling around like vines on a wall. This tree almost consuming the entirety of the area. And the art is very low resolution, but it is one of the best examples I could find for what I had in my mind.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah, there we go. So you can see, like I said, this huge thick trunk and just consuming the entirety of this room. And you can see that Odin smiles and breathes in. And you can see at the base of the trunk, there looks to be a small pool where the tree is sort of originating from. And you can see that there's a liquid that it's currently sitting in. This thick green, or thick yellow, like golden, shimmering liquid there. And as you do step in, Cecily, and you just inhale, there is this clarity. And you're not sure what exactly it is, but there is something here. Stepping into Tyr's temple, seeing the seed of Yggdrasil, you just feel a bond. And Odin looks down and smiles, and he doesn't say anything, but he just looks to see what your reaction is.
So, what does this do, if anything?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And as the rest of you begin to file in and around Odin, the door eventually does shut behind you. And you can see these small creatures, as soon as the door shut, begin to sort of sprout out of the branches. Almost like spriggans, where they are just creatures entirely made of branches and magic. They're smaller, maybe about the size of you, Ashima, no more than 3 or 4 feet tall. They move around, crawling all up and down the tree. You can see they're cleaning it, they are moving all about, they're carrying trays. There's a group of them that come and bring all of you drinks and have some small snacks on there for you as well. Sort of cooked fish and wine are sort of the 2 main things that are brought. And as these small spriggans bring all of these treats and delicacies of the Western Salamander to you, Odin begins to sort of pace around the room, just slowly walking as he's talking, gesturing towards the World Tree. This, Cecily, as I said, is one of the seeds of Yggdrasil. One of 2 on the material plane. Yggdrasil serves many purposes. It serves as a connection between the realms. It's an anchor point. You see, this temple can be used to traverse the realms. Whatever you wish to go, whatever you wish to see, you can go there from here. The plains of nothing but magma and fire, you can go there. A land of shadow and mist and undeath, you can go there. The land of angels and celestial beings, you can travel there. Anything you've ever wanted to see, anywhere you've ever wanted to go, outside of the material plane, you can get there from here. This seed of Yggdrasil is what ties us to our power. That power you have coursing through your veins, young Cecily, is the same I have coursing through mine. Thanks to Yggdrasil. But there's one problem, my daughter. your eyes. Eyes of slate grey. But luckily, something I have a remedy for. You see, when you were born, you were never baptized in the dew of Yggdrasil. As he sort of gestures down to that golden, shimmering liquid that the tree is sitting in. And tonight, my daughter, you will be.
Hold on. I might be.
All right. You might be, I suppose. Well, and you see him kind of recoil for a bit and then eventually fall back into his rhythm as he says, "There's only one other, as I said, in existence in the material plane, and that is in the mountains of the Goliath. I'm sure you're a friend here, that of, well, a strange treat to have one of the Unakalathai, but an Unakalathai with hair. A rare occurrence, as you must know." "Oh? Yes, very rare indeed. Yes, there is one of the seeds of Yggdrasil in the Hearthstone. It looks very similar. In fact, we have some of these same little creatures. Hello." One of the small brigands waves back at Keothi. Exactly. In terms of where Yggdrasil truly is, there is a realm that exists in between all others. Waygates that connect different points of time and reality. That is where Yggdrasil relies. But, in terms of, has anyone ever seen it? No! Just stories we have to go on. But then again, who doesn't love a good story? Well, this is Yggdrasil, this is Tyr's temple, and if you'll follow me this way, I'll show you to your rooms and leave you alone till the night. Follow me, please. As the man smiles at you, and he begins to move throughout the area. You can see him move out of the central area and off towards a west wing of the building. And I'm assuming everybody just follows him. Follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me. So all of you begin to follow him, and there we go. You follow Odin throughout Tyr's temple, and you can see that there are many different interconnecting passageways and hallways, doors, some on the walls, some on the floor, some on the ceilings. There are just passageways, stairways, doorways, any direction you look, there's at least 3 or 4. Very maze-like in its construction. And you can see, though, Odin is leading you confidently throughout the entire area, as if he knows every which way to go in order to show you the correct direction. And eventually you climb up a flight of stairs and the area opens up. And you can see to one side, there is a vast row of books, all different types, stacking up maybe 12, 15 feet up into the air. Several rows and columns of books as well, stacked up just as high to the ceiling. And you can see on the other half of the room, there are 12 masterfully created beds, all spread out equal distance, 3 different hearths on opposite ends of the room, except for on the side of the library. You can see dressers, you can see vanities, mirrors. You can see that there are tables already set with food and drink, And should you wish to wear something more comfortable, you can see that on each one of the beds there is a set of clothing in the traditional Jormungandr garb of ceremonies, which, Ashima, in your study of ceremonies, this is something you would recognize, especially for that of a name day or a birthday party. But it's used for that and also for an event of bringing somebody into the family. And Odin gestures down and he says, I don't know if they fit. These were what we had. They might be a little big or a little small. But should you need any adjustments made, the Spriggans will be more than happy to help. And you can see coming out of small little holes in the walls and in the ground are these small little forest creatures that are sort of glowing with this translucent blue magic. They make their way up to you. They have these big, wide eyes, but with sort of cracked bark smiles for faces. They look up at you, and seeing that you don't need anything, they sort of climb back up the walls and climb back into those holes and disappear. And Odin looks towards all of you and says, well, I shall give all of you a moment to get comfortable and talk and discuss as to what you wish to do. And then I'll be back within the hour, maybe two. And Cecily, unless you wish to do it now, of course, you can ask me any questions you may have. But I figured after a long journey and a long walk here, a lot of information to process, you might want to relax a little. So, this room is for you. No one else is here, and no one will come here except for those Spriggans and myself. Is there anything I might get any of you before I go?
I don't think there's anything we need right now. But thank you.
Well, if that is the case, then, Cecily, I shall see you in an hour or two. Rest
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
And he gives all of you a very warm, almost grandfatherly smile, and then heads down the stairs. And you can hear the footsteps go on for a while until eventually they stop reverberating through the halls. And you can see that there's no other way into this room except for that singular staircase and the small interconnected tunnels that the Spriggans have been crawling through. But you have a feeling that probably only the Spriggans are able to make their way through there. So with that, the six of you and Keothi are left alone in this massive room with that massive library.
The moment he walks out, Desmond sticks his head into one of the holes trying to see where the Spriggans went.
Yeah, Desmond, as you stick your head through, all you see is just this cluster of branches that seems like there's not even a hole big enough to crawl through.
Okay.
Cecily is like, as soon as his steps are gone, she's kind of just immediately going to start stress pacing. And just kind of all over the room in zigzags and just kind of shaking her hands and just, okay, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Hell, what the fuck?
You mentioned previously that you were possibly of the old blood. Did you have any expectation of this?
No.
I had figured not, but...
No, it's just a thing that people kept saying. And that one guy tasted, apparently. Oh.
It alarms me that... best not to think about it.
Well,
You can't say something like that and then say, let's not think about it. What are you thinking?
well, okay, I mean, it has to be true, right? I mean, a bunch of people have brought it up, and now this guy's bringing it up, but, like... I mean, he made us come right in, he made us put away our weapons, and then, like, he wants to... Like, I don't even fucking know the guy. What, I'm supposed to just get drowned in his tree juice? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, well, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. we won't let that happen. If you need more time to think, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to give you more. We've had, how old are you? 16 now? 16 years for him to wait. He can wait another day.
It would also be a good idea to maybe get some questions answered before you make any decision to take the plunge or not.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
Ashima's just kind of like staring above everyone. So, did the inbred wolf man often sample old blood?
What?
Those, that... Never mind.
Look, I don't know. There's just been... Can I take a bed? Which bed is mine? This one. I'm laying down.
Hey, you're the princess. You pick whichever one you want.
Don't call me that ever, please. And she's just gonna flop down on one of them and just be like making muffled stress noises directly into the pillows.
Might not be the worst idea to maybe try and articulate some of those thoughts.
Let's give her a few minutes. She probably just needs to unpack some of this. She'll talk when she's ready.
Yes.
I think Cecily agreed with me. I'm not sure. Cecily, make a sound if that was right. Ah! I'm learning.
Well, in that case, and Carasel's just gonna make her way over to the books just to kind of get a vibe of what kind of library this is.
Oh yeah, and Bianca would be with her at the books too.
Yeah, sure. So, as the two of you make your way over towards the books, you begin to sort of flip through them, and I'd like both of you to make investigation checks.
Show.
Oh, that's not 20.
Oh, not 20, you say?
Yes.
Let's see what I get.
And I got a 6 to my investigation as well, so...
Oh, 36.
Got an 11.
Oh, okay.
That's good too.
Yeah, and 11 is above 10.
This is true.
That is true. So the two of you, as you are beginning to dig around the library, it is a lot to go through. It probably takes you the better part of an hour just to kind of go through the different sections, and you can see they're organized fairly well. As you begin to flip through them, you can find several books in here that are intriguing and give you a good idea of what this collection is meant for. You find several history books that are related to the Western Salamander, the Council of Yggdrasil, that dating back many, many thousands of years ago to the original telling of the two brothers, Asri and Vanri, which were the two original founders of Jormungandr, that has sort of established the nation, the two original leaders that eventually broke off and split off into separate directions. A lot of it is rooted and based in that culture. So that is by far the big thing that you're getting. You also are able to see that there are a lot of books about other worlds' cultures and other worlds' stories and secrets that they may tell on any given basis. This just seems to be a library dedicated to history and knowledge and more obscure details to a nation's history. Like, for example, one of the books you might have found was a ledger from 500 years ago from Cartagia of somebody noting what silks they sold on what day and where they were heading to in Illica. There are some interesting finds. One book that you find, Carasilla, that Bianca actually moved over and saw the spine of the book and didn't think it would be interesting. Carasilla, you checked that book just to see what it was, and in that book, there is actually a collection of blood hunters. It is a sort of historical retelling, sort of like historical fiction almost, of different blood hunters in not just the culture of Jormungandry, but also in that of the Salamander Coast as its entirety.
I imagine she's just started to make a little collection of just interesting books. So she's just gonna file that one away.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. And then, like I said, yeah, the rest of it is really just all of these different historical accounts. It's a rather boring collection of a library unless you are a true lover of history and lore, you know, and it seems as though that might be something that Odin is about. He is, he seems to be a man, and if he was the one who curated this library, who loves history and who loves knowledge. There are a few. You do find a few. I'll say with a natural 20, you find a few fictional books that are almost children's books, you know, that recount famous Tarkirian knights and their brave deeds to save fair maidens, which who knows if those were even true, but they are a good read. So you find a couple of those as well. Yeah, exactly. So here, this isn't perfect, but this is a pretty good idea of what your room is looking like.
Ooh.
Oh.
Level style.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I don't mind it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. Solid 7 out of 10. All right.
But yeah, once they have kind of had a little look, Carousel will kind of push that Blood Hunter book in the direction of Bianca.
This one?
Might be something you're interested in.
Really? And she'll pick it up and flip through it and be like, immediately, like, oh, yes, I would. Start to peruse the book.
Yeah, for sure. So you do begin to peruse away, and just sort of flipping through it generally, you can see that there are a lot of interesting blood hunters. And the thing that's very interesting to you is none of them are the blood hunters that you have in your book. Because you have accounts from blood hunters, except they were blood hunters who did experimentation, whether it be on themselves or on other creatures, in order to figure out the most malicious and efficient way to kill something and to use blood magic to destroy it. This book recounts blood hunters as religious pilgrims of a long-lost art form. Many of the blood hunters in this book, it talks about them making a pilgrimage to Afera, which this is something that is also news to Bianca because it was never talked about in any of her books, how by most blood hunters they attribute blood magic and its uses to the fire natives of Afera, those who worship the flame and the sun. They were apparently the ones who created and mastered this art form of manipulating blood as a weapon. And you can see that many famous blood hunters from this book, like I said, it's still historical fiction, but you do end up gathering a few ideas of different famous blood hunters. Now, you do read about one in this book that is... Sorry, excuse me. People who their speciality was hunting creatures, where they were this sort of like combination of a ranger in a blood hunter, where they were excellent at tracking and crafting the proper ingredients and tonics to be able to properly dispose of a beast with this sort of like chemical accuracy. Then you read of another one who is supremely skilled in the martial talents and doesn't use any type of magic or enhancements in order to fight these monsters, but instead just uses their own blood and the blood that they spill from the monster. And then you read of a third one, and I'll say that right about when you go to read about the third one is generally going to be when you kind of run out of time before some other things happen. But you do begin to read about another blood hunter that has a particularly interesting story. They started as a cleric, specifically a cleric of the grave, a cleric whose entire purpose was to maintain that line between life and death and to make sure that people weren't going back and forth willy-nilly, just kind of doing their own thing, that there was structure and order to it. They were a servant of the Raven Queen. And none of these are dated, so it's hard to tell when these things might have happened. But this person in particular, it has what seems to be almost personal accounts of this blood hunter's journey from their home in what they recount as the Crown Lands to Afera and to the tribes there, and meeting with those people and learning their craft and using it in the name of the Raven Queen as to prevent people from manipulating life to an extreme degree. Because even some types of like reviving magic are necromancy, because you're going against that structure, that cycle. And even some type of healing can be considered necromancy to a degree. So you can see that this particular blood hunter took their oath very seriously, and they swore to uphold that of the native Aferans. Now, you do understand this must have been a while ago, because as far as Bianca has any knowledge of, there are no more fire tribes that are left in Afera. They're just non-existent anymore. So that's about as much as you can read in that small sitting. There's, maybe 12 or 13 other blood hunters in this book, but those are the three that you sort of read about in the first 3 chapters.
Yeah, and she'll probably bookmark it, assuming something we start to move on to the next thing and she doesn't have time to read anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so with that, all of you then just sort of left in this room, fire crackling off to 3 sides, all of the books that you could ever want. Is anybody doing anything in particular before Odin returns?
More pacing, eventually.
More pacing. All right, so you lay down for a while, then you get up, and then you pace more.
Those are the 2 things I do when I'm having problems.
Hey, should we have someone message Hrothgar, considering what's going on here?
Oh, fuck, I didn't even think about that guy.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
Well, it doesn't have to be a problem yet. If we get a message across to him, at least tell him to maybe reconsider until we're able to talk to him, discuss the situation more thoroughly.
I mean, I would just like it to be said, and you can see Keothi, she's kind of like trying to make sure that she's finding the right words here. While I believe that Hrothgar is a brave man and that he has done much good, I spent a fair bit of time in Fjardeleth, what seems like many months ago. when I first was traveling with the Jormungandr, those that you all fought, well, you four fought in the arena in Summer's Rest. And while I never met Odin, or the Crow Lord, I formed a very strong relationship with them. And when I was here, I don't know, maybe it's because it is his city, but I don't know, he never had anything but respect for Tyr. But I didn't want to say that in front of Hrothgar because, well, he seemed pretty angry about it, so you know what they say about an angry dragonborn.
What do they say about angry dragonborns, Keo? Huh?
Well,
Oh,
Desmond,
no.
do you remember what happened to you when we were in Tyr's Tyr?
Point taken.
Yeah, exactly. So, while I'm not saying he's wrong or off base or anything like that, I don't know. I think that measured caution is appropriate with both parties. I'm willing to message Hrothgar and tell him to relax and do some snooping around the city. But I also don't want to write off any path in particular. As, well, the Goliaths have a very close tie to Yggdrasil. And so does Odin, because it's here. And it's thriving. It's growing more than it's ever grown before. So, you know, I hate to think about what he may or may not have done, but at least this is proof of good. I don't know. I just want to make sure we're looking at this from all angles.
I think the thing is we're not exactly making a decision now. I think it's more so just telling him to wait until we can have a more well-rounded discussion about all this.
Reservations in this situation may be wise. Beside the point, he did place a blade to the throat of somebody who he had a sneaking suspicion was another. I don't think that tactfulness is very much in Hrothgar's vocabulary.
Yeah, he tends to act on his gut feelings instead of logic.
I don't think that's
I mean, to
entirely
be
fair
fair,
either.
he was right.
Well,
Well-
but when he was Lightbearer, he certainly was one of the better ones.
This is
I
true.
mean, you hear nothing about praise from him. So, sure, does that mean that there's still the option that it is just an irrational decision? Maybe, but I think it'd be a good idea to hear out all parties before we make any decisions.
I agree.
Well, then let me go do it.
What?
Yeah, I'll just go talk to the Crow guy right now.
Do you want to do it alone?
Well, if he was gonna hide anything, he'd probably hide it if we were all there.
I'm asking more what you're comfortable with, less about the tactical approach.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I think whoever the fuck this guy is, I have to at least try. At least figure out if whatever he's saying has any truth, and in order to do that, I just think some things about my life might come up.
Mm-hmm.
Here. I don't know how far away he'll want to go, but Bianca, you remember that light trick we did in the bar when we were dealing with Selrid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can just do that again,
Okay.
and I guess if they go away, come see what's going on.
Okay, I think that's a good plan.
I have faith in you, Cecily. You're gonna figure it out.
Glad we got faith in something. And she'll summon the dancing lights, tuck them in a corner, and just kind of swirl them around a little bit. And just... Okay, there they are. If we end up moving too far away, I guess I will just move them. And then you'll have to follow them, but like quiet.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, okay, I didn't think about this part. Do I just step out and say, "Hey, Crowlord, where is he?"
He said he
Do
would
we-
be back in an hour or two, and right now you're at
Okay.
about an hour and a half, so if you wait about a half an hour longer, he'll probably show up.
So just... Okay. Well, actually, never mind. I'm gonna sit here for a minute. And she'll
Well, that
just-
gives us time to message Hrothgar.
Oh, yes. I could just say, we're in Tyr's temple. Oh, what about the whole Cecily thing?
Maybe
yeah.
we should.
I mean, he
have
heard,
some
right?
of us meet him somewhere.
Hmm.
If he actually knows Odin and has this death wish on him, I mean, Odin may not feel much better towards Hrothgar.
I don't know if us leaving right now is an option.
Yeah, I don't even know how to get out of here. That was a maze just getting here.
True.
I'm sure we're not imprisoned here, right? We'd be allowed to move around the city freely.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I guess we
Maybe-
could just ask.
Ask the little things that have been crawling in the holes. Ugh. Weirds me out.
Do you think we just knock on the wall and they'll come out?
Morwen hits the wall 3 times.
Three
I
little
think it should be a
Spriggans
bit more gentle than that.
jump out of the ceilings and they sort of fall down onto the ground.
That's the widest I can knock. What do you mean?
So those three
Hello.
little Spriggans, they drop down out of the ceiling and they just sort of run up to you, Morwen. They just look at you, those wide eyes, smiles of bark.
Okay, hi. Quick question. Thanks for the speedy response. So we were a little confused. Like, we were told, like, we were honored guests here, but, like, does that mean we have to stay? Can we just, like, go out walking in the city? Like, is that cool? I don't know. We were just wondering if maybe you could clarify the situation.
Yeah, we'd love to go exploring.
The three little Spriggans, they just kind of look to you and then look to each other, and they kind of run away and run up into little holes.
Well,
Okay.
That was very informative.
Maybe they've gone to ask.
That I'm hoping.
Although,
I asked
I
really
must
maybe they
say,
hate
I don't
us.
feel too confident about having many discussions when there's quite literally things in the walls that can listen to us.
oh, I didn't even think about that.
Hmm.
So they don't return.
No, they don't. But about 15 minutes after they leave, you can hear footsteps return down the corridor. And then coming up the stairs, you can see Odin. And he says, "So, I hear you learned how to communicate with our little friends here. Truthfully, yes, you may leave at any time. I offered the temple to you to stay because, it's a place that means a great deal to me. So I wish to extend the offer, as whenever Cecily, should she decide to, bridge that gap between her and her powers by bathing in the dew of Yggdrasil. This is where it's done at. And the night after it happens, this is where the celebration will be. Not sure what the clothes were for. But should that not happen, of course, understandable. So in the meantime, you all are free to stay anywhere you'd like. This was just I just wanted to do something nice is all.
I don't think we're meaning to stay anywhere else. We were just wanting to take a walk around, I think.
Oh, yes, please do. Feel free to explore the city as you feel. There are many great wonders and vistas that you can see from a magnificent city. Should you, you know what? Let me, here. And he kind of reaches into that bag and walks up to one of you. Bianca, you had done some talking earlier, so he's just going to kind of pin onto your cloak.
I also hold the maps.
Ah, yes. So he's just going to kind of come over to you and pull out a small cloak clasp, and he's going to kind of replace whichever one you have. And well, before he does, he says, you know what? Sorry. No. Here. Pin this wherever you like. It's a cloak clasp, but do with it what you will. Any of the gate guards, show them that, and they'll allow you to pass, as if you were myself or Cecily or any of my other sons.
Great. She'll put it on her cloak.
Okay, so you pin it on, and you can see that it is it's a crow, fashioned in what seems to be black obsidian.
Obsidian? No. No more obsidian. She starts to stress out and panic.
All right. So, with that, he says, and he knocks on the wall 3 times, and those 3 Spriggans, you're not sure if they're the same ones. They could be. They drop down from the ceiling, and they run up to Odin, and they sort of look at him, and he looks down at them and says, should they choose to leave, escort them out of the temple. All right? And they nod, and they look towards the rest of you. Do you want to leave now? They don't say that, but that's kind of what they're looking at you for.
We may just need a little bit to kind of plan where we want to go.
They nod, and then they run off towards the walls again.
Also, we've just been traveling so much. It might be nice just to have some time to relax.
Exactly.
A real bed.
Yes, the best that can be made. In fact, these beds are, I never got your name, Anakalathai. In fact, sorry, I got a little distracted. I never got any of your names. I'm very sorry about that, truly. As you know, I'm, Odin Stormcrow. That's what they call me. Or the Crow Lord of Fjarleth, or the Storm Lord, or just Odin is fine. The Anakalathai. Oh, I am Kilvi Anakalathai of the Hearthstone. Kuindilar. Yes, Kuindilar, of course. It's an honor to have you here. And the rest of you.
Hi, I'm Bianca Dusong from Bella Clara.
Oh, where in Bella Clara?
Belka originally stayed in Summer's Rest for a while.
And then Summer's Rest. I've been to Belka before. It's, well, it is beautiful in parts, but it is what it is. Well, happy you're here. And then he looks to, we'll just say Ashima next.
I am Yoshima.
Of the Tongwu Pass?
Yes, I am from Loshar.
Oh, that is quite amazing. I thought I recognized the robes. I've done a lot of reading on your people. I find your creation myth and the belief structure you have in reincarnation to be quite interesting. I'd love to pick your brain about it, if you stay in Fjordalif long enough.
Of course. But the world tree, you already know it. Buoyancy and gravity, which both result in falling and floating, but in different forms.
I guess it is true what they say about you monks.
He'll smirk at that.
Yeah. Very clever, though. I look forward to our talk. And then he'll look to Suni.
Suni. It's nice to meet you.
Suni, yes. Very nice to meet you as well. Not as recognizable as a name, but Suni, where are you from?
A little bit of all over. Done a lot of traveling.
In my younger days, I was the same way. When I still had a young man's bones, I traveled all around the world and didn't regret it for a second. Kindred spirits, we must be.
Yep. Young bones, but an old soul.
And he chuckles. And then he looks to Carasilla and Morwen and just sort of nods and says, "Now, I might be overstepping me bounds, but you two have to be twins, right?"
That would be correct. Carissilla's just going to take her hat off, and do a little head bow. Carissilla Dulski.
Carasilla.
And Morwen Dulski.
Morwen Dulski. Is that name, Bromsgrove?
Yes. Surprised you're familiar with it.
Yes, I love Bromsgrove. They have some of the best fish stew I've ever had in my travels. And the city itself is beautiful as well. Now, this is a quick question. I know, Carasilla, you're not, but Morwen, are you still wearing your Children of the Flame armor, or would you have changed that in the journey here?
We would.
Carissilla's still got the gauntlet.
Oh, the gauntlet, okay.
That's true. We'd both be still wearing the gauntlet.
And, okay, so then he does recognize that, and he sees the gauntlets, and he gives a very solemn nod and says, "You two must, be survivors, then." I heard what happened
then?
in Delner's Pass, yes. Many of the children, they came through this city, on their way there, as to cleanse any problems they may run into along the way. Nasty business.
Forgive me, but did anyone come back through?
And he just kind of swallows
Right.
and shakes his head. He doesn't even say it, but you can tell that the words are kind of stuck in his throat. I'm very sorry for your loss. If I remember correctly, those gauntlets show status in rank.
Mm-hmm.
You have my condolences for the loss of whoever you fought with. It is a belief of myself and of my people that there is no greater sadness on this earth than living a battle where your men fought and died. So I'm very sorry you have to endure that pain. But you live to fight another day, and whatever darkness tried to dethrone your kind, or tried to dethrone the Children of the Flame, your kind have always been a tenacious type. So I'm sure, with time you'll be right back on the saddle and blazing that path.
Thanks.
Well, anyway, rest as long as you like, and I shall return with Cecily whenever I've answered all of her questions. Unless, of course, Cecily, you wished for me to discuss here?
No. No, we can go talk somewhere.
Very well. There's a small study. It's not too far from here, but we can talk there then.
Okay.
Follow me then.
As Cecily's leaving, Bianca's just gonna take her hand real quick and squeeze it and say, "See you soon," and then let it go.
Okay.
Still nod.
Alrighty. With that, Cecily and Odin make their way down the stairs. And you crawl through, or not crawl through, you make your way through a couple of passages. You maybe only travel 45, 50 feet until you get to a doorway that he opens, and you can see it opens up into a much smaller, what looks to be office or study. Not nearly as many books, a desk with a scattering of papers on it, and a few journals. And you can see that off to one side there is a large the tall type of dresser. Wardrobe. There's a wardrobe off into the side of the room. There we go. You can see there's a wardrobe off into the side of the room, and you can see everything, whether it be the chairs, the tables, the walls, the wardrobe. All of them are carved and inlaid with different types of like gold and silver filigree and all of these different runes. And eventually, Odin makes his way around the table and sits in a chair. Seems to be crafted for a man of his size. And there are a few chairs sitting in front of the desk. And he sits and says, "Please, take a seat if you'd like, or stand. It's entirely up to you."
Cecily will sit, but very stiffly.
I know that standards around the world are different, but, do you drink? Because I could really go for a pint of ale right now.
Not right now.
Very well. And then I will abstain as well.
Okay. Look. I've done the whole new parent thing a few times. And if you want me to trust you, to give a shit at all about this whole family blood thing, when blood's never done anything for me before, then you need to start talking.
Very well. Where would you like me to start? In the beginning, or how I found out you were in Jormungandr?
The beginning. First memory I have, I'm homeless in Motorswake.
And you can see that there is a sort of wash of frustration on his face. And then a sort of look of disbelief, and he says, I never thought that would come of you. But I suppose that in desperate times there is not very many answers. Right answers, at least. Well, so, what I need to say first, because I want to be truthful with you, Cecily, but there are things you have to know before I'm truthful. every leader of any city, any town, nation, even that of a group of adventurers, there are difficult decisions that have to be made. Hard choices that push you to the brink of your morality, of your what you truly believe in, your core. There are those that you're closest to, that you would trust with your life. And something happens and that all changes. I don't know how long you've been in Jormungandr, but I'm sure you've heard rumors about me. Rumors that I am cruel and malicious. That I'm spiteful and angry. I do what I do as a leader because I care of my people and I care of this bastion of hope that the fractured peninsula has. And I think that when these choices come for any leader, no matter how long you've lived, how many hard choices you've made, there are some that you're never prepared for. There's one rumor that goes around most frequently, and it, truthfully, hurts me the most. There are those that say that and you can see him really hesitate for a moment and then look up at you. And with very sad eyes, he says, there are many rumors that say I killed my brother not by blood, but by bloodshed. There are people who say that I killed Tyr in cold blood because I was lusting for power, because I wanted to lead, and I thought that he was unworthy. And that is so far from the truth. I respected Tyr more than I've respected any man in my life. There were few men who could make me feel like I was less than. And he was one of them. He was calm and measured, a brilliant tactician, a man beloved by the people. We didn't share a mother, but God's willing, we were brothers. But, Cecily, those rumors are not entirely untrue. If I'm to start in the beginning, you must know the truth. And the truth is, I did kill Tyr. And if I had to, I would do it over and over and over again. Not because I took joy in it, but because it needed to be done. And as he looks at you with that very stern, solemn look, that's where we're going to go ahead and take a break. Hey.
Wait, why a break now?
Why a break now? Because
we gotta run the ads now. Everybody's hooked, and now we gotta sell them razors and McDonald's and
yeah, exactly. It's
Razors in their McDonald's.
Yeah.
yeah, and McDonald's in their razors.
Oh,
Why are you shaving cream and you can use grease?
I use mayonnaise.
all right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and dev in Discord and then
Please
transition
cut.
to our break screen. So just a reminder to you guys, I will send you a message when we're 1 minute out. All right, or you can just keep an eye on the stream and you'll be able to keep track of this that way. Okay. All right.
All
So
right.
thank you so much for watching, everybody. I greatly appreciate you just hang around for 5 minutes, and we'll be back to see the real reason why Tyr was killed by Odin. Oh, that was beautiful music they were making. All right. We will be back. Break.
Time is chainmail.
What?
You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to sleep.
Cecily, think of it like light speed travel. If
Nope.
somebody
Okay, you all go to
is
bed. You all go to bed.
million
You go to
light
bed.
years
You go to
away.
bed. Sleep is found by all.
See you in the morning, Bianca.
Yep. Hopefully my headache will be gone.
No, Cecily will probably.
And he's gonna clap his hands and start picking up all the fragments of his gift. Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Save me some. He's gonna kind of do like the gun finger. Save me some food. Before. Well, never mind. He's gonna keep picking up his.
Yep. And Cecily's just gonna. She'll go ahead and walk back to the cabin, but she'll
Urgent. Go way back.
That
but
wasn't
yes,
Cyrus.
Madonna.
That wasn't his name.
Yes, it's what I call him anyway.
So you
Best
call
friends,
you
me
wine?
and Urgent.
Oh, my name. You can just call me Myrrh. Chint.
Myrrh.
Merchant. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Seems a very appropriate name indeed. Well, I'm Quilp, and these are friends of mine, and I'm sure I'll be calling on you again, but I'm afraid I won't.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That which be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Mac Elren.
I come, Grey Malkin.
Paddock calls.
Anon!
Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and sift
the air.
No, I didn't actually.
And you said a 12?
Yeah.
Roll a 4.
Plus D4.
Roll a 4 and you'll win. Oh! Oh, so close.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Go.
Oh, wait.
So
Are we selling hash for fucking bombs?
Are we buddies? Her little personal pouch is gonna be full. You bet your ass, but she will still.
I am never going to be able to go back to my family in Ireland, am I?
Probably not.
I'm just not getting in the country anymore. Okay.
Yeah. So, with that, I will go ahead and move you all here.
25, sorry, I was muted.
Oh, that's okay, that's okay.
On an 11.
Ooh, okay.
Modifies plus 9.
Yikes.
Huge.
Okay.
Are the Fomorians supposed to be that big?
Yes, they are. They are huge creatures. To you,
That's a good reaction.
Oh, gee. Must have slipped my mind.
I mean, I'm trying to quit too. You know, it's like, you know, it's just not. You know, yeah. You know, I don't.
Varnast,
I don't
you
need it
don't
to.
seem
That's fine.
very
Go ahead.
happy about this.
I wasn't in the middle of a sentence or anything.
Just completely disregarded.
Communication sound. I'm looking at you.
What? Sleeping dragon.
Call it T-bot. It's like a teapot. Bot.
That is an in-character and in-person laugh.
I'm ready, by the way. But the main use of it I saw that was truly badass was one of the players used Force Cage, and then one of my other players used Silence. So they basically just trapped an entire group of guards in a Force Cage, and then started just shooting them from afar, and they screamed silently like they were in a void of space until they were all dead.
So cool.
And we're back.
Yep. They just...
We need to put a stop to that. That makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, let's worry about the tyrant that's coming here first, shall we?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a functional member of society.
Debatable.
If I had a negative 10 to insight, I would still call you on your bullshit.
Listen.
It's not. Well,
That's fucking well easy, Harry. I'll fucking help you kill him. I'm that.
It's just one thing that I need to do. But I'm worried because supposedly this woman, Bianca, I think her name was, she serves
this evening that I can just leave it out here.
And you see him
that is if I find it.
Kind of like side eyes the different animals here, and he's like, no, keep it on you. I'll find you. I don't trust any of these suckers around here.
Okay.
What are you looking at, Carol? Get out of here! You see another raccoon was kind of looking at the two from the movie with Bradley Cooper.
Oh, God.
The American Sniper.
Yeah, that guy.
Luckily, Jareth was that guy. Okay.
Chris Pyle.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Abby, day 2. Save code. Apartment? Okay. Got it. 30. 23. Oh, McBoy Doodle, I go to bed. Hope you have a great day and kill lots of funky zombies. Hey, there's a speaking carrots right now.
I thought when she said I have to go tend to the garden, it was some kind of like,
ethereal
just
time.
like I need to go tend to the garden. That is time.
No.
Just I'll be right back.
Nope, this time looks like a real one. It's right there.
Okay.
About
All
20
right.
feet away.
Hey, it's because she's tending to the perennials.
Okay, I think it'd be best if we split up now.
Did not have all the ingredients of said cocktail when I made it.
Alec blinks.
It's a metaphor, I'll tell you later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry. She's just gonna hold up her hands like, I'm sorry.
I did say I didn't promise any.
To each other. As I said, I have a feeling we'll be there presently. Perhaps let's go right for now. And by that, I mean
right.
left.
Wait.
Is left to the sarcophagi?
East. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Ishima's right, but our left.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna... Y'all...
My head. Okay.
Wait, just say east.
Alright, we're gonna go stage right.
West!
We're going west.
Alright. Damn it!
Okay.
Right? Is that... Wait, oh shit, do I have it wrong?
That's, east is, if you're looking at it, like, on the...
Oh, that's just gonna make it so heartbreaking when she finds out she betrayed them on accident. Well, not
So-
she. Oh gosh.
So, you're telling me this grand, whatever the fuck, wants to meet Emeril, and Sailor cannot remember.
I would say, based on what we can do, and you guys want to get high?
I mean,
magic mushrooms.
it's
Yeah,
either
good.
that or
smoke weed every
just
day.
kind of vibe.
Maybe there'll be simple riddles like, what does the fox say?
Fuck you.
Let's just go and look over to Alice.
I'm gonna what did you say the satyr's name was? Tolaman?
Tellerin.
Tellerin, okay. I'm
He needs to do. Is it talking back to you, Lapis?
I'm listening, and I'm attempting to absorb any energy it wants to release. You can release your energy now.
Oh no, we don't want things releasing their energy. Let's be careful about that. Seen weirder things. Well, we can't exactly go back the way we came.
I don't know what I can roll, Mark, but can I roll?
I listen to stuff. You just gotta. Please. Joe, please. Joe, please.
Mark, where are you going? This is the most intense boss fight in the game.
Oh, God.
Is everyone good today? Like, are we good?
This
you guys
is-
have spent the past hour saying, let's see, all right, well, I got these magic candies here, and where's the water on the ship?
It's everywhere. It's under the boat.
Drink the salt water for all I care. Just do something.
Bianca would probably talk to either Morin and Carousel.
Is there supposed to be music? Does anyone want music? No, okay. I'm just gonna eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Okay. Does anyone know? No. Does anyone know? We could do music. Music would be cool. That'd be very name day-y for music. You need to be fucking perfect. There's a lot of garbage out there. Just gotta be better than that. That's all. That's a high enough bar for me, at least.
Okay.
I have larger feet than you.
Desmond looks at his feet and he feels defeated.
And cut. All right. The sun rises on another day in the fractured peninsula.
Not quite the mood, Joe. It's not quite his tempo.
So,
The people that put them here are the kind of people that make this place a nest of sin.
we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Salamander Coast. I'm going to go ahead and undeafen myself on Discord, and let's hope that they don't, hopefully they're not talking about something that'll get this just absolutely demolished. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. And we're back.
Layer.
Woo! Yay! Okay. Hello. Like I said already, welcome back. Happy to have you here. Let's just go ahead and dive right back in, except gonna pull a little sneaky on you. We're not diving back into the moment we left off on. No. We're doing what they call in the filmmaking world, cut. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We cut to black.
Hopefully known as bitch ass move. Your conversation, Joe.
Yeah. Never. I never finish conversations. I leave them unfinished. And then Cecily's going to come back into the room, and it's up to Cecily to determine what happened after that.
Oh, Jesus.
That'd be next level DMing right there. Okay.
Wow.
No pressure. I'm just kidding. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and cut fade to black. And we're going to transition. So the camera sort of focuses in on Bianca flipping through her book at the table, just kind of passively reading about this entity, this blood hunter, tied to the ways of the native Afera, specifically those tribes that existed within the deserts and steppe of Afera. You can see the... Oh, I'm very sorry. Yes, Gemma, F to your notes as well. So, as Bianca, you're sort of flipping through and reading, there is a small passage that seems to be a breakaway from what's written in the book. The rest of it is written in a very sort of third-person narrative structure where it seems to be telling a story. It has, a climactic plot structure. But every once in a while, there are these small excerpts that are written in first person. And you can see in the footnotes of the book that these are actual excerpts from her own personal journal that are dated back around 3,000 years ago. Translated by some gnome from Tarkir a while ago, but nevertheless very important. You read these passages, and there's something that strikes you as very interesting. This blood hunter, this worshiper of the Raven Queen, she describes her blade that was gifted to her by the natives of Afera. It is a blade that is made of blackened steel. It is tempered with and infused with a very special tribal animal that gives the blackened steel this almost starlight look to it, where in the moonlight it does seem to shimmer like thousands of galaxies in the darkness. And the other defining feature of it is that the blade has holes in it, all up and down the hilt and of the blade itself, that is meant to be filled with the blood of the wielder, said to enhance the striking power and the form that the blood hunter is able to fight with. It is something of their own design that keeps the blade light and dexterous, but still allows it to hit as hard as regular steel. And you draw a small connection to your own blade. Now, your blade is old. You can tell that. It was picked off one of the Ualjit. And in a brief moment, you just say, "What if?" And you exhale onto the blade and take a small piece of cloth and just begin to clean the blade. Just as best you can.
I have my blade? Did I get it out of the bag?
It's up to you. In the room, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the room, you're free to have those. It's just out in the city where you can't have them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I feel like if she's reading about the blade, or a blade similar to hers, she would definitely want to look at it while she reads.
And as you sort of take that small piece of cloth and begin to rub, it takes a little bit of elbow grease, but eventually you can see that there's this shine to it. And refracting off the fire from the hearth, there are these small sparkles in the blade. And it might not be the same one, but this is a blade that was made by the forges that existed in Afera. You have something special here, something that was stolen from the natives. It's something that you now have. So it's up to you with what you want to do with that information.
Has it ever, like in the moonlight, done any sort of vague glow before, or has it been dull?
No, it's just been dulled. It just hasn't been properly cleaned and cared for.
Damn, wish Poe was here to help with that. She'll try and think about how Poe would take care of his blades, see what she can remember and gather, and start to take care of it. Not really realizing before that it needed to be taken care of so much. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you do remember that one of the things that Poe would often talk about is blades would be wiped dry, first things first, after any sort of combat where there might be any type of liquid on them, they'd be wiped dry. Then they would be sharpened again, and then they would be oiled specifically. And the oiling was what was sort of gave it its sheen and then helped it maintain its health throughout the sword's life. And so you know that one thing that you've never done, and you're damn sure that Uul Jeet never did, was oil it and clean it and have it resharpened.
Yep,
So,
nope. It's just dried blood.
Yep, it is just
All
caked. And most of it's yours, too, just from how the nature of the blood hunter.
Oh, God.
So, you all make your, you sort of make that connection with that blade. And you know that if you were to take it to, say, a blacksmith in the area, that they'd be able to do that for you. It's a simple process to do, to clean a blade and restore it to its beauty that it once was. There might be a small fee, but nothing too crazy.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, she'll do her best with what she's got there, but definitely plan on going to the blacksmith once Cecily gets back, and or because we're still keeping an eye on the light just in case things go wrong.
Still swirling right there. Now, as that is happening with you, Bianca, we're gonna go ahead and cut back. Panning across the darkness back into the room with Odin and Cecily. So, Cecily, he leans over, and as I said before we took our break, he says, I did. I killed Tyr. And he takes a moment, and you can see he has this long glance into the fire as he just stares into it for a moment. Is there anything that you say after that?
After a heavy pause, just... Why?
Well, it was because of you. You see, I spent many years serving Tyr. Happily serving him. Tyr was a good man and a kind soul. He was a better leader than me. And it's not easy to admit, but he started to lose himself. He became obsessed with this prophecy, this myth, really. found this tablet of this black volcanic rock and ivory swirling together. And the historians we could have that identified it, they said that it was easily 4,000 or 5,000 years old. Ancient Jormungandr, predating Asri and Vinri, the founders of our nation as it stands. And there were words written on it. And he says, Doctor, it might be better if you just see it. And he stands up and he moves over towards that wardrobe. And as he opens the door, you can see a large, what almost you would assume to be stone tablet that was painted. But then as you start to focus in on it a little bit more, you can see that there is that, they are those two separate materials of ivory and what is probably some type of obsidian, mended together. There is no line between the two. They just seamlessly combine one another. And he begins to read in a language that you don't recognize. Hello there, all who should read these worn words. The blood moon comes and goes, but the child born will stay. Monsoons of blight will destroy the beautiful fjords. Should the child not be stopped, our home will be war-torn. 13 shall break their chains, and 13 threads will be lost to the void. Should the child not be slain, rock, river, and rain will be destroyed. And he shuts the wardrobe. You see, Tyr found this some 50, 60 years ago. And it started to affect him. Most people who only knew him as a companion in some battles, or who adventured or traveled with him briefly, would know no difference between the Tyr they knew and how he started to act. But we came to start Fjardeleth together. We were both natives of Yggdrasil, sent by Queen Agneth to create this city in peace and prosperity. Bring peace to this area. I've been with him for a long time, and I notice things. And then you ask for honesty and I'll give it. I have never been the best father. Especially before that faithful day. I wasn't faithful. It was until I met your mother. She was the one woman who could tame me. She made me feel so small, but so cared for and loved. My other 3 sons, they had all been from different mothers, but you, I And her, I thought that would be different. A new start. Something good. But then your birth came. And your mother, she was being taken by the handmaidens that faithful night. As we looked out at the stars and saw a moon, blood red, in the sky. Cut. Now we're going to move back to the room, okay? So, Gemma, don't hate me, all right? So, we're going to pause right there as, once again, we're going to the camera just kind of panes over across the fire, and as it moves past the fire, we move from one fire to darkness to another fire, the hearth in the room. As all of you are just sort of sitting there, reading, cleaning your items, or just generally taking a moment to breathe and relax. Keothi says, I don't mean to interrupt everyone's rest, but I don't think we ever decided if we were going to message Hrothgar.
We should do that immediately if we can. At least immediately to stall him.
We can simply say that we want to have a discussion before anything happens.
We could ask to meet somewhere in the city. We are allowed to leave.
I think it'd be wise to meet him after Cecily returns, though.
I don't know. He seems like
Maybe later this evening?
He seemed very, very direct in his desire to finish the task he set out for. Not that I worry for Odin's sake necessarily, but the sooner we can get him to stop, the better for us, I think. Maybe one of us or two of us should go out and try to meet him.
Personally, I wouldn't mind being there for that conversation.
I wouldn't either.
Agreed.
Well,
Then Ashima and I can wait. Meet Keothi Ashima.
Yeah.
All right. When I was here, when I first arrived, I stayed at an inn, the Lion and the Lamb. It is right near, let's see, Njord's Valley. It's a nice little tavern right on the south side of Njord's Valley. You should be able to go there, and I'm sure Hrothgar knows what that is. All right. I'll tell him to meet the three of you there within the hour.
Thank you, Keo.
All right. Hrothgar, this is Keothi. Some of us would like to meet you in the Lion and the Lamb Inn. We must discuss new information. 24. Very good. You can see she receives a response, and... Oh, okay. Whoever is going there, he will meet you there. He has information he needs to share as well.
Excellent.
Bianca will pin the crow thing on Carasilla's, or hand it to her to pin it wherever she wants, and so they have access in and out.
Yeah, she'll just take it and pin it to a jacket.
Okay. All right. You pin away. And with that, knock on the wall. 3 spiggins drop from the ceilings, and they look up at you. And
Able to take us out of this place?
They nod, and each one of them grabs one of your hands, and they start to lead you out.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Adorable.
And with that, no tricks or deception. They lead you to the the simplest path, which is the same one you traveled with Odin. And eventually you are pushed out of the Tyr's Temple, and you're free to go wherever you'd like. So you have about an hour walk in order to get to the Lion and the Lamb. So as you head out, begin to walk that way. We'll go ahead and cut back now to Cecily and Odin.
You see, Cecily, what happened was... me and your two brothers. Well, two of your three brothers. One of them I tend to forget about, but... they knew how happy she made me. How excited I was for you. And when Tyr marched in with his warriors, proclaiming that he would put an end to this once and for all, I wouldn't allow him to pass. I had I gave a stone to your mother. It would take her to the most obscure spot that she could think of. Somewhere away, far away. And in the rush of everything, they started to attack, and there wasn't time. I didn't even think of gold or jewels or anything. I gave her that stone so she could live. And then between myself and your two brothers, we fought them back. And we killed them. I sent them looking for you. All around the world. They traveled everywhere. And I thought that maybe you really were gone. Forever. I never gave up hope, but I did start to lose it. That was until one day, maybe a month ago, a rumor hit that the Uel Jeet had gotten a taste of the old blood. A young one. Blonde in hair. Grey of eyes. And I knew it had to be you. And then, lo and behold, you arrive. And you are her spitting image. That is what I know, Cecily. And that is how I feel. I'm thankful to have you here now, but I also understand if you've been through too much heartbreak to allow another connection to be made.
And that he kind of leans back and
opens the floor for you.
She'll stare at the fire wide-eyed for a little bit, just putting it all together. So... that tablet that he found. Did anything ever happen to this place?
To Fjordaleth? Or to the place where he found it?
Anything. I mean, it sounds like, according to that thing, I'm supposed to be gone.
You know, I've never been a big fan of prophecies. I think that the more stock we put in prophecies, the less likely we are to go against them. Sure, if we have a prophecy that says the world is to be destroyed, a great titan of flame will slaughter all of the people and destroy all the land, a great winter will consume everything, and should you do nothing, and nothing you do will be able to stop it, why would you do anything? If you believe that much in prophecies, you may as well just lie over and let the end come. I don't care for prophecies. I choose instead to blaze my own fate.
The 13, though, mentions them. And it kind of seems like they showed up right when I got here. I mean, maybe I should just lie over and die then. I've thought about it. Almost let it happen a few times. But the idiots I'm with keep getting me back up.
Well, I think that means that you're traveling with a good group of idiots, then. If
they're solid.
And he does laugh at that.
I've read about these 13. Very old tomes, thousands of years old, talking of a great dark one, the same that of the children of the flame do. It's no surprise to me surrounding yourselves with two of them. That you may run into issues with the 13. The chosen of the dark one, those forsaken by the light. It would be nice to believe that if this prophecy was true, if I, right here, right now, struck you down dead, that all of that darkness would go away. It's a nice thought, isn't it? That if you sacrifice yourself, all of the pain and suffering caused by these entities would go away. I don't know if you can tell, Cecily, but I'm pretty fucking old. Before you were born, there was darkness and despair. And after you were born, there was darkness and despair. And after you die, there'll still be darkness and despair. But there are those who stand against it. People like your friends, like the children of the flame. Soldiers who don't know what great war they're fighting in, but they still fight. For every person that is trying to destroy the world, there are two more that are keeping it held together. Why do you think it hasn't all fallen apart yet?
How old are you? Are you even a person?
Oh, I'm a person, that's for sure. Believe me, I feel it in me bones. But age. Well, don't exactly celebrate a name day anymore, it's just a reminder. But, suppose I'm about, 650, 675, give or take.
Does the old blood make you live that long?
No. The old blood is what's the word? Kind of like when you're starting a fire, you have flint and steel. Right? The old blood is the flint and steel, or the bonfire, whichever way you want to look at it. It's there, it's dormant. But all you need is a catalyst to awaken it. And then, very well you could. The old blood takes many different forms and shapes. You see, before I was given my gift by the powers that be, I knew no more magic than a gleeman. I could maybe do a trick of the eye, pull a coin out from behind your ear. But I was gifted. I went through the process. I found the seed of Yggdrasil, and I bathed in its dew. And what eyes were once slate gray began to glow bright blue, almost casting a glow across the room. And well, my brothers did it, my sons, cousins, nephews, nieces. All of those who are descendants of the old blood, who wish to take part, are bathed in it. And they make that realization about themselves. So you might live to be 650 years old, or who knows? Could live to be 3,000, or 70. Could be anything.
You know the witch in the woods, right?
Yes, I do.
You met her. She told me a little bit about this. About purpose. It just... My entire life, I didn't have any control. didn't have any say in what was happening to me, where I was living, who I was, what I was allowed to do, what I was allowed to like, how I could sit, how I could talk. I had 5 fucking last names because even that wasn't mine. And then, one night, it felt like all of the luck I had never had showed up all at once. And I just kept living. Every single day, I'd come across something that I thought was going to kill me, and somehow I'd make it. And the magic kept growing, and the shit I had to deal with kept growing. But it's not like I have any more control. I mean, if the power hadn't shown up, then I guess I would still be getting thrown against the stove for not eating enough at dinner. Or getting hit with a whip and having to say something I did wrong today with every lash. And didn't matter how much I'd actually done, had to come up with 20. Because that's how much she wanted to hit me. I guess I could still be there. It's not like I have any more choice over my life than I used to. And now, someone I've known for 3 hours is telling me that my purpose isn't really mine either. I'm supposed to just dip myself into some ancient glob of dew and then suddenly, even if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I'll know what everyone else has decided I'm supposed to do. When those powers showed up, did you really still not have any idea where I was?
And he just breathes for a moment and then says, I wish it worked that way. When someone with the old blood channeled magic, if I could locate them on a map and be there on a moment's notice, I would. If I would have known where that stone would have taken you and your mother, I would have gladly dropped everything and come to get you. I promise you, Cecily, I did try and find you. And I don't tell you the things I do to make you feel as though you have no choice or say in these matters. give you this knowledge so you can make a choice. Had I known the things had happened to you that they did, I wouldn't have had all the pomp and circumstance when you arrived. From my perspective, I heard you were fighting the Ualjit through Mistspire Cannon, and you were near the Battle of Delner's Pass, and you were doing all of these things. Things that when I was your age, I would have been doing. And I thought, then I'll give her a hero's welcome, since that's what she's shaping up to be. And I'm not gonna say I disagree with my sentiment. But I can tell you've taken a much different path than I did. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. It's a difficult decision. All things considered. And I don't want to seem like I'm forcing you one way or the other. You've had so much taken from you, and that would not be right of me. It's your father to force you into anything. Especially now. So, with that, although I don't know you, Cecily, I'd like to. I've never had a daughter before. And I've missed out on most of it, but I'd still like to be there. As much as I can.
Well, you'd be in with a group of people that have all either died or disappeared.
Well, guess, it's a little bit easier to keep track of names that way. No, that wasn't there. Sorry. I've lived through a lot, Cecily. And if there was anything that was going to kill me, probably would have done it already. Should anything try and hurt you, I promise you I'll do everything I can to keep you safe.
I have a lot to think about. I don't know if I can take one more.
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's making it hard.
You know.
I have.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh. I was just gonna say I have 3 people that I guess you could call my mom. As far as I know, they're all gone now. You wouldn't know the second or third, but I don't remember my first mom much. If I think really hard, I can kind of picture her. It's my first memory were in a dumpster, fittingly. As far as I know, that's where I was born. Just in a pile of shit. And she's there, saying something. And I don't understand it. I just know that she's the most important person in the world. And then I have one other memory. She's off talking to a guard about something. Who knows what. And I'm sitting there eating a scrap. Just some end of a loaf of bread or something that came out of one of the buildings. Somebody dropped it, I don't know. And I don't know what they're talking about, but she seems anxious. And then every memory I have from there on out is in an orphanage. I don't know if she died. I don't know if she got thrown in jail, gave up, and dropped me off. I don't know.
And you can see that he's definitely tensing up a fair bit.
If you can tell me anything about her, then maybe I'll be able to believe all this.
I think that I have a very prized possession of mine. That I think it's only fair that I share it with you. It's your right to see it. Follow me.
And he stands from his chair and he begins to walk out of the room.
I will follow.
Okay. So, as Camera pans to follow the two of you. We're going to go ahead and cut out into the city. So at this point, we have our group of 3 traveling in the city. You can hear the crashing of the waves on the coastline, which is just pretty much ever present from the entire city. And you can also hear that and feel that snow whipping and crashing all around you as you are out in Fjardeleth. Okay, snow falling, wind blowing. It is a very, very cold evening. You begin to make your way through the city streets and to where you know the Lion and the Lamb is at. Suni, as you are walking around trying to keep an eye out or keep an ear and an eye out, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
That's a 2.
It's a 2? So generally, what you do pick up the most is that people do seem to recognize you as the people who arrived with Odin's long-lost daughter. And that's kind of the thing that you hear over and over and over again as you're traveling through the town. Don't really have enough perception to perceive past that, because that's mainly that's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your way down through the across the bridge, through the paved stone, out the gate, and then eventually towards Njord's Valley. You make your way through the shopping district and to the inn, the Lion and the Lamb. It takes you about maybe 45 minutes to walk all the way down and across, and eventually you do make your way in. And the noises of outside do fade slightly, but there still is that ever-present noise of snowfall and the crashing of waves. It is replaced mostly with the crackling of a hearth in the common room of this inn, and you can see, as you come in, as you were already expecting him to be here, Hrothgar. And you can see sort of hood pulled up, covering the armor and sword that he has tucked into his scabbard, sitting off in a far corner of the inn. Now you can see the common room is fairly empty as of right now. It seems as though that nighttime crowd isn't exactly here yet. But make your way over to him, and you can sit down across from him. So as soon as you do, he sort of gives you a nod and says,
"All right, Keothi said there was something you all needed to discuss."
That's right. I guess when did you leave, first of all?
Well, wasn't long when I saw him. And at that point, if I knew if I would have stayed any longer, he would have seen me, and didn't think that'd be best for all of you. And, in all honesty, with all those guards near him, it wasn't best for me either.
Well, you could see the kind of circumstance we arrived in, right?
Yeah, I saw the crowd, if that's what you're talking about.
Did you hear what he said?
I think so. It was a little muffled from underneath the waves.
Then you know that, I guess there's another, obstacle in the path you're taking, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Were you aware earlier?
Are you implying that I know that Cecily was that this entire time?
I'm not implying anything, it's just a question.
Listen, I'd heard the rumors about a girl with blonde hair with the old blood, but that could mean many things. I mean, the Uiljit were going a little bit hard on their transcending medicines, or that there was some poor young girl who got caught in the wrong part of the northern reaches of the Council of Yggdrasil, and they decided to, feed. Was there a chance that I thought that this might have been one of them. Maybe, but you know how small of a chance that is? Listen, these...
Problem is, I don't think our problem here just lies in blood relations. I mean, we haven't been able to talk much, but I think we need a bit more certainty that it's really for the best to continue with your plan.
This Odin seems to have a lot of reverence for your old friend.
Yeah, sure he does.
I mean, it seemed genuine as far as I could tell.
I felt the
Seemed
same.
to be a welcoming person. I just find it a little at ends to what you've said.
Yeah, bet you do.
You can see that he's really starting to sort of like crack a little bit. And he says, all right, listen. I don't have anything concrete for my beliefs. All I know is that about 16 years ago, Tyr was in control of the city. And then one day, get a letter, get news while I'm off doing something else. I was gone for a few years. I was off in Odero. I was trying to get some special shipment organized for a festival, a holiday. I was stuck there because there were other people who needed help, and I thought I could do good for the Children of the Flame, even if I wasn't there. And I got a little distracted. And then when I come back, there's all this talk through the town about the Crow Lord and the Storm Lord and the Storm Crow, and I just had to know what was going on. And I saw him. I saw Odin and his two dipshit sons walking like they own the place. Talking that Tyr unexpectedly died in his sleep. I mean, like I said, I don't have anything concrete, but I listen, if Cecily's of the old blood, just like Tyr was, then that probably means that if she is Odin's daughter, then he'll probably want to have her baptized in the dew of Yggdrasil. Now, this is something that most people who are of the old blood do, and it gives them a multitude of different things. If there's any turmoil or conflict within them, it organizes it. And not does all the work for you, but for those people that have conflicts and chaos writhing inside of them, it gives them perspective. And it allows them to have some type of clarity in those brief moments in that dew. And then it unlocks something in them. Something tied to the old blood. The blood of, to be 100% honest, I don't exactly know. I call it the old blood, and it's what gives Odin and Freya and his sons and their children and all the others of them this glow, this celestial-like quality.
I saw it.
But just because they're celestials don't mean they're good. You can... Because they're still human at the end of the day. They can still die. But I know Odin killed Tyr. And listen, I like all of you. I do. Your hearts are in the right places, and you two
gesturing to you two, Morwen and Carasilla.
You seem like good leaders. I mean, you don't get those bracers for doing nothing. Dorian must have seen something in you. Some ability to wade through the bullshit and find the truth. And you, Suni. Talk about someone who's been knee-deep without knowing it. I mean... So, what if she is his son? Or she is his daughter? I mean, does that change anything, really?
No, but that's not the thing that's changing here. Point is, I don't want to see blood of what seems to be a good man being spilled. Especially when it's over something that seems more circumstantial at best. I mean, I trust if you have a feeling, you have a feeling, and you would know more about the situation than us. But to go in on a hunch, not knowing the full story, and wanting to just, well, kill whatever's left of it? I mean, you've already expressed your own concerns around Draven Hunt, but it very much seems something that he would do.
Agreed.
So not to mention that slaying him just gives you thousands of angry people at your back. Just don't want you to rush into anything too hastily.
Suni, do you have a best friend?
I do.
What's his name?
Poe.
Poe. What would you do if you were in my situation? But it wasn't Tyr and Odin, it was Poe, somebody else. And the other two of you, twins. Exactly. What if it happened to one of the two of you? You had nothing to go on but claims. Your own blood.
That's the thing, I would want answers, not blood.
And you, Morwen?
And, well, if he seems to be a reasonable person, then would it not be a better course of action to maybe try engaging in some form of dialogue? That way, moving forward, we could be certain of what we're doing. I don't think this is something that we should be rash about. It's only going to create more problems than not.
You agree with that, Morwen?
I do. If I lost Carasilla, I would be full of such anger, but I know she'd never forgive me if I killed the wrong person on a hunch.
Ooh. Ooh. I know that Gemma's gonna scream, but Morwen, I'd like you to make a persuasion check with advantage.
Me?
What? Because you did the final line. You gave it that final final punch.
I said one thing.
Because you said the thing that you said the thing that might change his mind.
It's a 19.
19. Okay. Okay. He leans forward. And he looks at you, Morwen, and says,
Fine. I haven't changed my mind, but I'm willing to listen to whatever he has to say. You can either find information, or if you really think it'll help, and you're not just throwing me into the lion's den, I am willing to meet with him.
Oh, I think that's all we can ask of you. But please don't make any plans before we're able to get that meeting. Or if it doesn't happen, at least wait for us to get our own information first.
Can I ask you something, Hrothgar?
He looks to Karasilla and nods in agreement, and then looks to you, Suni.
Do you think you could take care of him anyway? Trust me, I know you're strong. I don't think I'm gonna get this crook out of my nose anytime soon. I'm just curious.
Sorry, so I think you cut out a little. I was... Well, what was the question you asked? I'm so sorry. I
asked if he thinks he can actually take him.
Oh, okay. There's a moment where he goes to answer immediately, and then he thinks.
One-on-one. Yeah. I really think I could. I might be older, but so is he. And if it comes down to it, if him and I are talking, the conversation goes a certain way, there are obligations he has being a resident and a citizen of Fjardeleth. There's a place called the Honor-Bound Arena. As all of you know, there's no weapons allowed in here. At least to be brandished. So, in order to avoid conflicts in the street with fists, they want to solve things permanently when conflicts arise. Someone comes to you with a problem, you can challenge them. And then you fight to the death in the Honor-Bound Arena. And then it's settled. You can either choose to spare the person, and they're exiled and excommunicated, or you can kill them and finish it. I promise you, if you get that meeting, that won't be the first thing I do. But if I feel as though the evidence is substantial on my end, I will.
I feel like in that case, there's one more thing I want to be certain of. If things do come down to it and you find yourselves in the Honor-Bound Arena, and worse circumstances come to worse circumstances, and you don't leave that arena, what do you see happening with the Children of the Flame? Things already in shambles enough as it is. Have you even considered the greater picture of all of that? And what about getting us into this temple and actually where we need to be? If things go south, what do you see happening there? I think the reasons why we're here and the reasons where we need to be and what we need to do are greater than just killing one man. And I don't want any of that to be jeopardized.
Make a persuasion check.
That is a, I believe, 21?
Yeah,
21.
Okay.
You know, why couldn't Dorian just have lived 2 more months, 3 more months? Listen. Burn me, you're right. Odin needs to pay for what he did, but if I don't go to Brahmsgrove, there's no telling what's going to happen to those people. Scattered, disorganized. Who knows who will rise to the occasion, fill that void. Thing is, I heard that Odin, his daughter, and their companions were already in Tyr's temple.
True.
I mean, that's true, but I think it wouldn't be as secure if, well, the leader of the town is killed. And I mean, you've said that there's obviously some plan in place for when he does inevitably be dispatched, in making sure that chaos doesn't happen to the streets, but I don't think that's something that can be secured so quickly, right? And we need all the security that we can get if our plan is going to work. So, sure, we've found ourselves in, but I feel like we're still yet to find where we need to be. And the passages in there are winding enough. We have to get escorted just to leave the place.
So, is what you're getting at, you want me to come to Tyr's temple with you?
Suppose that would be helpful. You said you know it, right?
I do. But when Tyr designed it, he intentionally did so to be confusing. Some of the old passages may still be there, but I mean, Odin's been there for 16 years now. No changing, no knowing what he's changed, but...
And he just looks up to the three of you. And Carousel, I'd like you to make one more persuasion check.
That's only a 19.
19, okay.
Only a 19. Oh,
That's the
boo.
lowest she can roll!
Listen, before I go anywhere near that temple, I need some type of confirmation that I'm not going to be drawn and quartered as soon as I get within a arm's reach of that door. If you can provide that for me somehow, I'd be more than happy to, but I'm not going to go in there on a whim.
Valid. We'll contact you as soon as we have it.
Good.
And I mean, if we're able to arrange for that conversation between you and the Crow Lord, maybe it will be more of an invitation anyways. Make everyone's life easier.
Suppose you're right. Oh, gods. Well, before I do anything else, I need to get some sleep in a bed that's not on a ship.
Morwen glances at Caracilla with a look that Caracilla knows what she's trying to relate her to.
Does she? Because I don't.
What?
What?
Hang on, I'll message you.
Uh-oh. It's like, uh-oh. The Wonder Twin powers didn't activate. Oh, no.
Suni just glances back and forth between the two of them. Back and forth. Shrugs.
She just gives a nod. And we'll just message Morwen just the word later.
Okay.
Very well.
Listen. And he puts his hand on the table towards the three of you. And he says,
I know at times my anger can get the best of me, but I promise you, if this meeting goes through and I'm in that temple, I promise you I will be every bit of political as I can. I won't throw anything you've worked hard to achieve away. I want that to be crystal clear.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, if there's nothing else, I guess the three of you should be getting back, and I should head to bed then. And, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna... You go ahead.
And you two. Looking to you, Morwen and Carasilla. I just wanted to say, I know when we were on the ship we talked just a little bit about what happened and who you lost. Not in much detail, but I've had some time to think, and I just want to say, I know that you never would abandon your quest, especially now. But from what you told me, they seemed like good men and women. Good soldiers. And there are certain secrets I'm not supposed to tell. It's light bearer. But I feel as though the two of you have earned it, and Suni, I suppose you can hear as well. No need to cover your ears. There is a... It's not necessarily a rumor, it's more of a legend. A tale. But one that I know to at least have some truth to it. When you're sworn into the Children of the Flame, you do so in Brahmsgrove, and you do so in front of a shard of the first flame of Nabir Termal. You bind your soul to it. You bind yourself to it. The reason that is because there is a belief that when the final battle comes, all of those souls that were lost up until that moment will lead the first charge into the forces of the Great Lord of the Dark. A bright dawn of cavalry, beginning the fight in the last battle. While they may be lost now, I have a feeling you two, you three, all of you, are going to see this through till the end. You'll see him again someday. I know you will.
Well, that's the case, then. Perhaps that's better fortune than I thought we had.
Yeah. Always darkest before the dawn. Well, you all best be getting back, for they think you've been gone too long. And I suppose I'll keep my ears open, wait for a message.
We'll try not to
Are you going to be
keep
coming
long.
sooner your way?
While... Oh.
Sorry, both of you said that at the same time and they blended together in my ear.
Win.
Twin power, it's back!
Woo!
if the other two are starting to head out, Suni's going to hang back for 1 second to say one more thing after they've kind of exited, kind of grabbing Hrothgar by the arm and kind of pulling up and in towards his, like, closer to his ear. He's going to say, "You've been a good friend to me, and I want you to know that I understand more so than the others that an oath is an oath. And if you need it, I'll have your back. You can count on it."
He clasps your shoulder and smiles and says,
An oath is an oath. But I think they're right.
I do too.
I think your friend Poe would probably feel the same way that Tyr would. I don't know him, but I'm sure he's a good man.
He's the best.
They always are. I'll keep that in mind, Desmond. Or Suni. Oh, shit, sorry.
It's all right.
I'll keep that in mind, Suni. I appreciate you saying that.
Hrothgar will remember that. Yep. And with that, the three of you head out. Hrothgar heads upstairs.
I will say.
Yeah.
That.
You will say.
Yes. That later would be kind of now. The twins do want to just say something just to Sunny, just while they're making this way back. Like they wouldn't do it in the tavern, but like as they're walking back, if there's just like a quiet street or something, they'd stop in. They just want to have a little combo.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, as you're kind of like walking along, especially as it's getting later and into the night, you can see that the streets are beginning to thin, and you have a little bit more free roam to talk as you wish. So you're alone, and it's up to you two to determine how you want to set the scene.
Yeah, I mean, just as they're walking, Carousel was just kind of like taking note of like, you know, how many people are around them and all that. And once they found that quieter section, she would just stop. Just getting the others to stop as well. Give a little look to Morwen.
She nods.
No, I wasn't wanting to bring it up when we were still with Hrothgar. But I think there is something that the both of us would like to say to you.
Okay.
Because you know why we're here. And I'm not talking purpose or anything, the steps that brought us here. What happens at Delna's Pass. How that, despite a promise that we made to all our troops, one that mattered more to us than anything at the time, a promise to stay with them, because we would never leave their side. And no matter how terrible things were, we'd do it together, right? We abandoned that promise on the premise that there was a better option, that there was something that we needed to do, that if we were to stay, nothing but our conscience would be saved that day. And we did it to deliver a letter. Something that we were also unable to do. Because we met you all. And in that moment, we realized once again that that was something we would have to let go. Because there was something more important to focus on. That's because this chance to go back in time and stop everything from becoming as fucked as it is worth it. That's We're here on a gamble. That's what's gotten us here. A gamble on people that we barely knew at the time. And I'm not saying all this to, well, regale you on our past, as it's certainly not something I like to dwell on too often, but because I think you're facing something similar with those remains. There's something that's important to you, and something that you don't want to give up. But I think it would be wise for you to reconsider Hrothgar's offer to have Solvus take them off your hands. And I know that can be difficult. And we understand that. But I think too much have been risked to let ourselves go out on such a gamble. Because there's too much riding on what we're doing here and how much has already been lost for you to be carrying on something that seems to be nothing more than a time bomb. And again, I didn't want to mention that in front of Hrothgar because I didn't want to force your hand in any way. I want this to be your decision. But please, I would appreciate if you reconsidered holding on to them.
Reconsidering's all I can promise. I appreciate what you've said, but I don't expect either of you or any of them to understand. But I'll reconsider.
So in the tavern, when you said that you'd keep him if everyone was cool with it, that was just a lie?
No, you've not told me that you're not cool with it. You've asked me to reconsider.
Okay, let me rephrase. I really don't want you to have it.
I appreciate.
Well, I'm
what
trying
the
to be
two-
gentle in saying that. I also have no interest on continuing with them with us.
I appreciate.
Like I said, I understand it's part of you, and that could be something difficult to give up. But we gave up 20 parts of ourselves that day that, well, we're not really getting back. Heard what Hrothgar said, but that's not living.
I
We're not gonna
appreciate
let
what
you
the two of you
jeopardize
are
this.
telling me. Trust me, I do. And I understand that concern and about what I said in the tavern. But you have to understand this. This is the first time the three of us have spoken without the others being involved. I understand that the group trusts you, and I'm trying to as well. But you cannot expect me, at the comments from two almost strangers, in a rather seemingly passive-aggressive manner, is going to change my mind easily. I'm trying my best, and I expect you to respect that. I respect all of the sacrifices you've made. Trust me, I do. And I'm sure I will learn to trust you as this goes on. I will reconsider, but that's all I can promise.
I'm not asking you to trust us. We're asking you to trust what Hrothgar had to say. For what it seems like you two have somewhat of connection. We're only asking that you go on his suggestion. Perhaps even reopen the dialogue about it. Now that both of you had time to think and perhaps see things clearer.
I stand by what I said. I'll reconsider. And then he'll just start walking back towards the temple.
Okay. And on that note, we'll cut right there, and we will fade back into a long, narrow corridor where Odin currently leads Cecily down a hallway.
That wind is no longer there. Instead, it is just drowned out by this ambient thrumming. The magical essence of Yggdrasil all around you. Every once in a while, you can see a branch, a root, that is part of a wall, not trimmed down at all, but is growing within the wall. This entire temple, Cecily, you can start to see is living and breathing. It is not a piece of metal that is entirely separate from and just housing Yggdrasil like a clay pot. But instead, this building is a vessel. It is also something living and breathing with magic that is growing and changing with Yggdrasil. Being this close to the roots and to the branches, you can feel the ground underneath your feet shifting and changing, but Odin knows exactly where his steps are going, one after another after another. As you continue through Tyr's temple, eventually you move to the end of the hallway, and there you can see one large door. And off to the side, a smaller door. That large door, he gestures at and says, "That is the heart of the Yggdrasil in there. The center of the temple. That in there should be my most valued possession. But it's not. It's not." And he moves towards the smaller door off to the side and opens it. And you can see another study, much smaller. Everything meant for a man, maybe just a little bit smaller than Odin. The room is decorated in a similar fashion with all of the inlaid and filigreed gold and silver Nordic runes. But off on one side, there is a portrait of a woman. Golden blonde hair, draping down to about her stomach, 2 loose braids on either side. Cecily, you have this very odd twist in your stomach. Because you remember all those months back in Summer's Rest, when you were thrust forward in age. Wasn't exactly a spitting image, but very similar. Odin gets down on one knee next to you. He puts a hand on your shoulder, and he says, "I know it's not the best, but this is the best I can do. Cecily, I'd like you to meet your mother, Estrid." He smiles at you. And you can see the portrait doesn't move, it doesn't change, it doesn't do anything. It's just a painting of Estrid, as you know her, Falver. And this is pretty much what you see.
What was she like?
Estrid stands for God and beautiful. She was beautiful, same as you. And she was a goddess. I don't mean literally, but the way that she walked and moved, her confidence, her everything. She was stunning. The light of any room. She could mild my tempers and calm my storms like no other. And I think the best part was, as kind as she was, whenever Thor or Balder started to quip at her a little too hard, she would put those two dipshits in their place. Oh, don't get me wrong, I love my sons, but not the sharpest tools in the shed. He smiles at the painting.
So, you feel that anger too? Do you feel it whenever you channel magic? That sort of storm inside?
I used to. When I was a young man and I didn't know anything about the world other than 9 times out of 10, something was trying to kill me. I would lash out in anger and punish those who tried to naysay me. But now, after long years of studying and practice, it doesn't come from me anymore. I pull my magic directly from the source. I picture myself in the eye of the storm. No longer am I the hurricane, I am inside it. I'm moving it, every ebb and flow. It moves where I tell it. I'm not thrashed about by its tenacity. The storm isn't a part of me. It's something that I own. Something I can do with whatever I please. You know, Cecily, I don't know what Freya told you. About me, but I think you should know that she is one of my son's mothers. She is Balder's mother. She was very possessive of him. And a similar thing happened to Balder that happened to you. He got angry, mad, lashed out at her, hurt her. And she returned that blow tenfold. If you see Balder, you'll see the scars still. To my best knowledge, he was dead. My son, our child, was dead. She brought him back to life. And then on top of that, she says she gave him a blessing. He sees it as a curse, though. Balder was blessed with invulnerability to all things magical and non-magical. Nothing can hurt him, destroy him. Nothing. In all my knowledge, I've never found anything to break that curse. Anger and emotion is dangerous when it comes to the old blood. You start to think that you own everything. That fate and destiny is yours to bend. That the magic that holds us all together is yours to weave and change. That's not true at all. I told you I own the storm. That's because I've spent many years practicing, channeling. One day you could very well achieve what I have. But it requires patience. It requires a good teacher. And if you ever want to grasp your powers to the full extent that I have, it requires being baptized in the dew. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I just want you to know the truth of many of these situations and what can happen if you don't. You don't need to give me an answer. Take as much time as you need to think. You've had a long journey. But remember, the last thing I want is for that anger to consume you, and the magic to devour you from the inside out. I've already lost my daughter once. I don't want it to happen again.
I'll kind of clap you on the back, very, very lightly, and then stand and look back at the portrait and says, "It's a little big to fit in a bag, but if you'd like, I could have a copy drawn up for you. Something to keep along with you."
That'd be good.
That it would be.
And hang on to the two moms that mattered.
And who knows? Maybe we'll go back to Waters Wake one day and pay that hag of a woman a visit.
How did you find out where I was from?
You said it earlier. You woke up in a dumpster in Waters Wake. Don't tell me you're losing it now.
Right.
Maybe I did.
You said that, right?
Did I mention the town? I don't know.
I think you did, because I'm pretty sure you said you woke up in a dumpsters in Waterwake. Because he wouldn't have said that otherwise. Yeah.
Concerned third party here. Pretty sure you did, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I throw that out there.
I mean, I don't remember, but okay.
It's okay. We'll go back and watch the replay later and see what the truth is.
Okay, and then I legitimately. Oh god.
Yeah, you thought you had a gotcha there, didn't you?
I thought he was gaslighting me. All right. Well, never mind that then.
Okay.
Love the confidence though, Mark.
Yeah.
I was confident in that moment.
It was good. Yeah.
That I did not.
So
but maybe I did.
We'll rewind.
Maybe one day we'll go back to Waters Wake and pay that hag of a woman a visit.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone to visit anymore.
And he just kind of makes a face and like nods. All right.
Well, I'm gonna think. I'll talk to you sometime, I'm sure.
Of course. I would like you to know, though, and I apologize in advance for this, but while Thor and Balder may have left out elsewhere, Thor's sons, Magni and Modi, they live in the city. All things considered, they might stop by and visit you. And I apologize in advance for their,
And he just kind of stares at the floor with like this, like, dumbfounded look on his face.
the way they act. There's not a better way to put it than that. They're nice. They're just dull. Modi more so than Magni, but still not. Definitely not as smart as you are. I can tell that already.
Well, that's really saying something, because I'm about as bright as the cellar.
Oh, that's a good one. Have to start using that one.
Yeah.
Bright as a cellar.
Well. Okay. I'm gonna see what my friends have to say about all this.
Of course. Tell them as much or as little as you want. Matters not to me. Good night, Cicely, and genuinely, I'm very happy to have you here, even if it's just for a short time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
He smiles, and as you leave the room, he looks back towards the portrait and stares at it for a moment. And with that, as you make your way back to the room, one of the Spriggans leads you back. Suni, Morrowind, and Karasili, you make your way back. 3 more Spriggans lead you to the room. And Ashima, Bianca, and Keothi, as the 3 of you are dueling each other in kingdoms and castles, the other 4 return to the room at about the same time. As you look to one another, lots of information to share, and plans to make. That is where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session. How are you feeling, Mark?
I also need to sleep on it.
Rightfully
I do. I have a couple ideas of things I need to sort out to really be on this guy's side. Because I'm like 80% of the way there, but the music is spooky.
It's true.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I
It's
getting
ominous.
spooky vibes?
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's spooky, but it's kind of intense.
The music
track is titled Treachery.
But I started playing it when Morrowind and Karasilla cornered Suni. So like,
yeah, that was fucked up. I noticed that.
because it was a tense moment. And then, obviously the story when, Odin was talking about what happened with Freya and Baldur, that was a tense moment too. And then, I felt like it fit the vibe. Don't be distracted by the name though. It just,
I don't know. I just thought it was nice.
I think we're distracted.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you're very distracted. Why is nobody having a good time when I specifically asked for it?
I don't know, man. You're playing a track called Treachery, and he's like, here's your mom. 100%. Here she is. No lie, no cap. Here it all is. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen, I mean,
you look like her. Is what they said. So,
yeah.
Or what Cecily realized, right?
Yeah. Like I said, there's a striking resemblance to you when you were, 35, 25, something like that.
At this point, I am confident that Cecily is his daughter. And, all the family lineage and the general story of, what happened and her being far away and all that. I buy all that. What
faded
I am confused about is some details. And there are ways that I might be able to suss that out.
All right. I'm excited to see your Pepe Sylvia board when you finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like talk to some people board, but yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this session. I know I did. Be sure to tune in on Friday for the Explorers of Ephera, on Saturday for the Isles of Avarion, or next Tuesday for the continuation of the Salamander Coast. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you. Farewell. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.